Hey folks, this is a completely unscripted video, slightly planned for, but not by much. And to be honest, this information is probably just novelty because a lot of people have asked me about the magazines for this gun. This is the 10mm Beretta. For the longest time, there was a rumor going around that this thing was a single shot and couldn't even take a 10mm magazine. You're going to find out today that that is absolutely not true. There's been a lot of discussion back and forth about it. So what we're going to do today is I am going to show you the actual making of a 10mm Beretta magazine. I'll start with some information for those of you. This is mostly people who know me in person, getting some updates on what all is going on. As many of you know, 2 years ago we had a flash winter. The October before last, we had a flash winter that darn near killed me, and last winter I almost died from the same thing. It's basically been a constant struggle for survival. To be quite honest with you, I'm a bit surprised that I'm still breathing right now. It had kind of a snowball effect, a domino effect. Damage to the house and stuff like that. So, still fighting with that. Because of that, I do have some projects that are now 2 years overdue. That doesn't mean I'm ignoring them or have given up on them. It just means that unexpected things have basically made it to where I've had to choose between finishing those projects and staying alive. Sounds extreme, but unfortunately it's the truth. That said, none of these projects have been abandoned. Not one of them. And I'll show you, here's a little bit of show and tell. As you can see, this is the automatic slide release. This is in the process of prototyping an automatic slide release for the 1911. These are handmade grips for it. Here's a little bit of show and tell, and you can also see it compared to the Beretta grip. This is the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum magazine. It's obviously not finished. Doesn't even have a gun to go with it yet. And you can see, putting my hand on it, if with the grip being basically a sleeve around that, you can see that it's cumbersome, but it's usable. And I've actually found, as a grip maker, somebody who studies the dynamics of handling, that smaller is not always better. Sometimes bigger is better, and in this case, that is the case. This is a barrel for the 500 Magnum, as well as a 50 AE, which is also still being done. And here's steel for the slide. So it is an ongoing project. But that is not today's project. Oh yeah, the Dremel. Lost my thing, so I'm using a vice grip for the Dremel. Today we're going to take one of these EWA Witness magazines and convert it to function in the Beretta 10mm. Now, these magazines were a gift from a friend. I've already completed one of the magazine conversions, and this is going to be a copy of that one. By the way, this tape right here is just to keep an eye on what you can see. Some things are happening off screen, but I'm trying to keep the important stuff on screen. And this tape is just for that. So here's the magazine. EWA Witness. Now if you watch this is an interesting thing, is it already fits the gun. And before I was using 10 Foglio Witness magazines, and I had to trim them. I had to actually thin out the side walls all the way around. Had to make the magazine thinner and pinch it in a little bit to get it to drop freely, like you just saw. That was a California 10 rounder, and it was laser cut. Well, I had two of them. The last one was laser cut, and it broke where the laser cut was, and that was the end of that magazine. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this stuff off. That. Start by just taking all of this stuff out. Okay. So let me see what you can. Let me see if we can see here. Okay. So if you look down, you can see how there's this little gap, right? Well, yeah, right here you can see how it sticks out there to catch the slide stop, and then it dips in here. Well, the slide stop on the Beretta comes into this area. So what I need to do at some point is take some of the metal from down, some of the plastic from down here, and put it up here, and just kind of make this all flush. And that will allow this gun to engage the slide stop very dependably. Another thing about this is the Tanfoglio magazines. I had to replace them with Heckler & Koch USP 45 followers, and the USP followers had to be very carefully tuned to make it fit with any reasonable amount of reliability. These things, just as they are, just feed incredibly reliable, just right out of the box. In fact, with these magazines, it's probably the most smooth feeding gun I have. Okay, there's two things that need to be done here. First off, the first thing that needs to be done is, let me get the pen again. The slide stop is going to, oops, hang on, let me see what you can see. So the slide stop is going to fit into this area. So if you see how there's like this, where the angle changes, and there's this opening here, this all has to go away. So basically, let me pull the tip out. Hang on, sorry. Right along that line right there, it all has to get cut away, just like that. And then I'll have to redo that. So that's one of the two shapes, and that'll basically allow, you saw how the magazine got stuck in there? When I remove that, the magazine will stop being stuck. The next thing, hang on just a second. So this is the other magazine. You can see I kind of dremelled a notch. I'll make it look prettier later, but this is just to get it working. So you can see I dremelled a little notch there, and that's for the Beretta magazine catch. And then I smoothed this out just so it's less likely to get stuck on it. So what the way I did that in this one is I took the grips off, and I put the magazine at the exact depth that I needed it to feed right. And then once I got it into the exact depth in there that I needed, I marked out where the slide stop was, and I cut a little bit below that, and then I just kept inching it until it fit perfectly. Point out that one of the downsides to this is the magazines fully loaded don't actually drop free. They have to be pulled out, but when they are empty, it just downright spits them right out the bottom. If you've seen that video of on Forgotten Weapons where he releases the magazine on the Court 1911 and it spits the magazine out, this does an even better job of that. I'll show you. You'll see. It's pretty crazy. But I mean, and then the only other thing that has to be done to make it fit is you put this on real briefly, and as you can see, you put it in there. That doesn't really, it sticks out a lot in the front, so I just cut those out. I might show you the aftermath, but basically I'm going to cut some of this out and then take the plastic and melt and weld it in there, and I might show you, I don't know. We'll see. Here we go. Alright, pop that little booger off, and then I'm just going to make the edges not so sharp. Forgive me, it's very windy today. There's that. Okay. So now, I've got it triangulated. So basically, it has to line up the bottom, line up there, and then so it lines up at the bottom, lines up there, and then this this line right here is the actual cut line. This piece right here. Okay. Of course, we need the base plate because that's part of the math. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut slightly low, because you don't want to accidentally cut too much or cut too high, you know, and create a situation you can't fix. So I'm going to start by cutting low. See where I'm at. Okay. Okay, so that should be just enough to tell me if we're catching right. Yeah, it's showing as being a little bit lower, so it's probably where you want it. Okay. Yep. So we'll go back. Just touch. All right, and let's see if the follower fits. And let's see if the slide. So the slide will not release, so it's still too high. So I forgot this has got to come down a little. So do that. Okay. Okay, so see, magazine goes in, slides and gate. Okay. So the last part is we're going to take some of the plastic out of here. Just going to create like a pretty even hole here. We're using this for bulk, but in the end we're still going to end up using part of the surface that's up there. It's just my experience from doing the first one. Sorry, getting it to stick while keeping track of the camera was too involved, or too much of a coordination hassle. So it's too much to pay attention to at once. So I just got it working. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just making this fit. Just making it. So what I'm going to do here is kind of melt it all together because I don't want it to delaminate itself. So I'm going to kind of melt it all together and then come back and straighten it all out. It's a little bit of an art, but really you're just making it, trying to make everything as flush as you can. Right now I'm just trying to get everything as even and as possible, but also trying to make sure there's no delamination points. I want everything to be as mixed and integrated as I can. Right now I'm just trying to get everything as even and as possible, but also trying to make sure there's no delamination points. I want everything to be as mixed and integrated as I can. You have to forgive the dirty, oops, dang it, sorry, I keep losing track of you. You have to forgive the dirty plastic welder. The wind blew some plastic onto it, plastic bubble wrap onto it. Yet it's been a kind of a windy day, but it's the day I can do this. As I mentioned, hasn't been the easiest time. All right, that looks pretty flush to me. Let me make one last effort to ensure that it's not going to delaminate. I really tried to mix this. Dang it, sorry. Oops. Yeah. Hang on. There we go. So it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. All right, let's put the whole thing back together and we'll see what happens. So one thing I forgot to show is, and I ran into this trying to load it, is these edges. Like the plastic follower likes to scrape on them. So I'm just going to smooth them out a little here. All right, gun's clear. Magazine in. Slide stops back. And what I say about them spitting the magazines out. Try that again. All right, now we just need to go feed test it. You have to forgive me. I cut my thumb off camera, dealing with stuff related to the camera. So I'm gonna. This is actually safe. I'll put this pedal over a little bit, but this is actually a safe direction. This is rural Alaska, so it's mostly just stumping dirt over there. One of the, just slide for a minute. One of the drawbacks, as I mentioned, is it's not drop free with a loaded magazine. I mean, take that as you will. I guess to me it just means that you're not going to lose the magazine as easily, but it'll take two hands to get it out. So, however you want to look at that. The other thing is, for some reason, I've only ever been able to get 13 rounds into one of these. So we're going to feed test it and see how this works out. So here we go. It works.